Alright, the NASCAR Texas weekend review. Let's just jump into it. So, a truck race at Texas, it was actually not that bad. It was a pretty good race. But of course, any race that comes remotely close to good in any of the three series, yep, you guessed it, King Leach, Kyle Busch himself, has to come in and win. So make that 202 wins now for Kyle Busch. Also, Friday, we found out what the NASCAR qualifying changes are. And to no surprise, the changes were absolutely nothing to the Cup Series. Same qualifying as before. So NASCAR predictably caved into the PC culture and did nothing. Fuck me, I could have predicted this. I predicted this after California. Well, hooray for useless changes, I guess. But well, moving on. Xfinity race. Well, Kyle Busch won the Xfinity race. That should give you the idea of how the race went. But yeah, so that's 203 wins now for Kyle Busch in NASCAR. The good news is the next 4 races at Xfinity are Dash for Cash races. So we won't have to, and with the Dash for Cash races, we don't have to deal with no leeches anymore since they're banned from it. Hooray! So the next 4 Xfinity races are actually going to be watchable. Like, isn't that weird? Isn't it weird that any race in Xfinity that has no leeches are good? Is this a coincidence? Please get Cup drivers the fuck out of NASCAR, please. The sad news is for trucks, though, the trucks are off till May, when we go back to Dover, so in a few weeks. But yeah, continuing on, Formula 1 race in Bahrain. Pretty interesting race, interesting finish. Hamilton wins, so yeah. Honestly, though, Charles Leclerc should have won that race. Like, he had it in the bag and then proceeded to choke on his own shit. Like, honestly, Leclerc, please don't let this be a thing in your entire career where you have shots and wins and then piss them away. But yeah. Hopefully Leclerc can get a win soon. Hopefully. But yeah, and Formula 1's off next weekend. They'll be back by April 14th weekend for China. Yeah, the magical land of China is when if Formula 1's gonna be back. Maybe Ferrari could get a win there? Oh no, China's more of a Mercedes track. Or maybe Red Bull. Who knows? Good news is IndyCar is back next week in Alabama. So we get a real racing series back. But to the Cup race. Texas. Actually, this race was actually not that bad. It actually didn't suck. So we actually had a pretty decent Cup race for once. Took 7 races, but we finally got a good race. How about that? Throughout this race, a lot of different strategies, lots of comers and goers. A lot of different leaders in this race, and there wasn't really that big a gap. We were actually pretty close, so hooray. This race, Jimmy Johnson, he led more laps in this race than he did in the first 6 races combined this year, so that 48 team is really making improvements. Like, Jimmy Johnson ran top 5, top 10 all day. He had top 5 speed. Like, Jimmy would end up finishing 5th, spoiler alert. But Jimmy was contending with the win until, I think it was in stage 3. Jimmy's jackman had the jack fall apart in his head, and that put him back in the field, and he gonna dig out a hole. So yeah, pretty unfortunate. So it was a mechanical failure that cost Jimmy potentially a win. But hey, top 5, I'll take it. Hey, William Byron finished 6th. This race had a lot of fuel strategy. Drivers trying to stretch it on fuel and whatnot. Normally, fuel mileage is something we don't get with this shitty ass stage racing. Maybe if we didn't have the stage racing, we could have more fuel mileage. But probably not. In the end, Denny Hamlin won this race. Actually, shout out to Hamlin. He actually had an impressive race. Early in the race, missed pit road, and then had 2 penalties. Went at least 2 laps down. Fought all the way back, won stage 2, and then went on to win stage 3. So in other words, don't race only became interesting because Hamlin almost choked this race away in stage 1. If Hamlin didn't have the penalties and if he didn't miss pit road, this race would have become Texas. and Hamlin just would have dominated this race. But since Hamlin almost choked it away in stage 1, it was actually pretty good. So by accident, we had a good race. Honestly, one of the better races this year, though, I'm not gonna lie. Like, Hamlin didn't really pull away as much, you know? Like, really, in the end, Hamlin was, like, pulled away at the end after a pit strategy. You know, when everyone pitted with, like, 14 to go, since no one was gonna have enough fuel to make it to the end. Even with all the fuel saving they were doing. But yeah, that's all there is to it. The good news is for the Cup Series, next 2 races are on short tracks. So we're actually going to get watchable races. Hopefully this package makes Bristol good. I mean, both Bristol races were good last year. Hopefully Bristol's good again. And usually the spring Richmond race is better than the fall Richmond race. Even under the lights. Under the lights, the spring race is better than the fall race at Richmond. But yeah, we at least got 2 short tracks to look forward to next, so we actually get some watchable races. But yeah, NASCAR will get at least an... So yeah, NASCAR, you get a B+ for a good race this one for once. However, NASCAR, the only reason you don't get an A- was because you made no changes to qualifying. So NASCAR, hooray. Hooray for useless changes once again. That was ultimately the most NASCAR thing to do after Fontana. Hype everyone up after that embarrassment of a pit qualifying session. Get everyone hyped up thinking you were going to make changes, and then bam, once again, cock teased everyone and dick punched them back to reality. Making no changes. At least you had a good race to cover your ass this time. But how much longer will that last? But yeah, I think I've gone on enough. So at least Kyle Busch didn't get to bring the shovel out this week. So yeah, Denny Hamlin denied Kyle Busch the shovel. Kyle Busch finished 10th in this Cup race, for anyone wondering. William Byron also had a good race too, finishing 6th. Like, Chase Elliott, he had a top 5, top 10 run going, and then he fell to crap after, he became a goer. And Alex Bowman ran like dog shit all day. But yeah, Jimmy Johnson had a good run. That's all that matters. Maybe he can win a race. I mean, 2 short tracks, they look favorable. We're just going to have to wait and see. But yeah, that's all I got to say. Let's see if Bristol can be good this year next week. But yeah, that's all I got to say. Hope everyone's a great day, and yeah, peace out.